Overlooked podcast. Excited to be back for another episode. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to recap the quarterfinals, look ahead to the semifinals and our game of the week. Then we'll talk about our college picks. We tied this week, surprisingly, so that'll be a lot of fun to look at that. And then we're going to look at Championship Saturday. A lot of big games, SEC Championship, Pac-12 Championship. We're going to look at that. And then we'll conclude with some NFL action and talking about some big storylines and front runners for MVP and things like that. But let's go ahead and get started with the biggest results from this past week in high school football in Georgia. Obviously, I think both of ours top is Walton beating Carrollton 56-35. But Craig, you were there, so I'm gonna let you take the floor. What was your just biggest standout from that game?
Yeah, so I have the first half stats right here. Just want to read a couple of them. So Makari Bodiford, 12 carries in the first half. That's huge. As much as that Walton offense can do, balance, 12 carries, 75 yards, he set the tone. Hecklinski in the first half, 17 of 18, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns. So 280 yards to the air, Hunter Teal, 5 catches, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns. They played a perfect first half. I mean, it's unbelievable. Red zone chances, 5 of 5. Third down conversions, 5 of. They held Carrollton to 1 of 3 on third down conversions, 2 of 3 on red zone chances. So you look at the score, Carrollton put up 35 points. Kamari Farmer did excellent. Juju played well. But the defense did have some key stops. They put tons of pressure on Juju, had 4 sacks in the game. Just the most dominant performance I think Walton's had probably ever. I mean, they've never played a game that well. Feeling they'd come out motivated. And Hecklinski did not win Player of the Week, but I was looking at who did, and you know what? It's a pretty good effort by him as well. But I thought Hecklinski was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, he only had 2 incompletions in the game, and as you said, I think Rusty brought up a great point on the broadcast, is that he wasn't missing any throw. He was dropping it in the bucket. He could throw wherever he wanted to go with the football. I mean, they were just like, the coverage was not bad by Carrollton. Carrollton was really good, but he was just putting it only a spot that you really see, like, you know, an NFL or college quarterback making. I mean, I think it was incredible just watching it from home and seeing him be able to kind of make those throws.
Yeah, and what I like about it, he only had 2 incompletions. He had 1 incompletion in the first half, 1 in the second half. Right. So it wasn't like back-to-back or a bad drive. It's unbelievable. And then what impressed me was Jordan Van Bride. I thought he made some unbelievable catches that, as Rusty and Brandon pointed out, it's unguardable. If you have that good coverage, as you say, and Hecklinski's on timing, throwing it back shoulder, he's going up and getting it. It was just incredible to have an offense clicking like that. Everyone knows how impressive it was. So I think people are starting to see that, okay, you look at this Final Four in 7A. I mean, Walton looks like they have the best team on paper. Anything could happen, though.
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point, too. You've been bringing it up all season, just about the touches that Bothaford has had, kind of just, you know, I think it was very strategic on Bruner's part and on the offensive coordinator's part for Walton, because, like you said, you don't want to tire him out. You want to get him for the stretch playoff run, and we're seeing that, right? And I think the good thing this year is that they're not having to lean heavily on Bothaford, right? They're going to be able to do a 1-2 punch with Austin Williams and him, keep him fresh, so when they need him in games, they're good. And also, like you said, kind of the decision of those weapons, right? Going back to Jordan Van Bride, Cameron Lloyd having a really great season, Wyatt Sonderman back from the broken hand. All that stuff matter. And then now this is an offense that can throw the football, right? Always has, but they don't have to lean on their run. Like, they can use it, but they're so good offensively passing the football and so efficient, as we mentioned. Remember that stat we talked about last year that was crazy with Walton that Coach Bruner had for his quarterback? I think he said like 70% passing. Right. And we're seeing that. Like, that was way over. That was like 90%. So I think you bring up a great point. It was a surgical victory. And you brought up another great point earlier in the season that really stood out to me. You said in that game against Grayson, you wanted to see early on in the first game in Corky Kell, you wanted to see how the offense will look. Will it be more big play like last year, or can they actually methodically go down the field? And I think what you're seeing is what you said, a complete offense. Yep. One that can go down the field, one that can make big plays, and one that can take some time off the clock. So that's another great point about their rushing game, right? Last year, you would see they score quick, defense right back on the field. Going back to that last drive right before the half, being able to get it in that 3 minutes and score and not give Carrollton any time. That stuff like that is what the difference in making and winning the championship.
Yes, there were plenty of times where Carrollton thought this might be the drive we get them off the field. They continued to draw up the perfect play.
Yep.
And then another thing about Bodiford, 12 carries in the first half, but what's even more impressive with how they use him, they'll use him heavy on a specific drive and then let him rest. And then it's like, okay, the passing game gets going. Let's bring him in again, hand the ball off to him 4 out of 5 plays. So that's even more dangerous because it gives the offense the understanding, okay, this is the drive. I'm sure they tell them it's like, we're going to pound it. We're going to run up the middle. This is what we need to do this drive. And so they're selective. It's not just, okay, he's taking first down carries and then they're throwing on third down. No, they're going to give it to him 3 plays in a row, march it down the field, score. Then the next drive, they're going to do something else. Then they'll bring them back in later.
No, 100%. And my last point I want to bring up is what you said about Ben Bryant. The ability not just offensively with 150 yards in the short, intermediate, and big plays, but his ability to go guard. Like he had 3 pass deflections against Caleb Odom, who's going to Alabama. So if that doesn't speak a guy that can play, and he's not the biggest dude, but I mean, you're matched up one-on-one and you're playing good defense against a 4-star player that's going to be playing at Bama next year. I think that's big time. I think Walton, they did not have that. They did not possess that last year. And it's kind of that 1-2 punch. And I think just the route running of Cam Lloyd has gotten so much better. Like he was good last year, but it just seemed like a gear, and he's able to separate very easily from defenders as well.
Yeah, and the way he tracks the ball down is super impressive. But I love that one play Bam Bryant had. I think it was in the second half. He had a perfect pass breakup on Caleb, and he let him know. He started talking that trash. He was just hyped up about it. And the ref went to pull out the flag, and he was like, I'm good.
I seen that.
I'm good. Sorry, my bad.
I seen that. I seen that.
Next play, I'm good.
100%.
So, yeah, he was doing this thing. He was having fun out there. And I think that's what Walton – it's like they enjoy the grind. They enjoy putting in the work. When it's a tough game and the other team strikes back, you can tell they aren't rattled. They're like, okay, this is what we expected. This is what we want. They want to thrive in that big game. I thought their fast start, Carrollton said, you know what? We want to defer to the second half. That was a strategy that could have worked out the way they answered and kept it in, but Walton just did not let up, scored on every possession, a touchdown. Just incredible.
Yeah, last point I want to just bring up about Carrollton. I know they got the right coach and Coach Joey King, who's great, and the right quarterback in Juju Lewis. And the good thing is they're getting good experience now. They also got Kamari Farmer, who's going to come back next year. Unfortunately, Bryce Hicks wasn't able to come back this season, but he got a lot of good, valuable reps. It's going to be important next year. Their 1-2 punch next year is going to be potent. Thing about Carrollton is, great team, they got to be able to get more stops defensively. I think that's what you've seen with the difference between Walton last year and this year, right? They're going to have to be able to get some guys that can rush the passer, create some pressures, be able to get somebody that can, get some defensive PBUs. I know they're going to graduate Kelvin Hill. They just got to get some more impact players that they're going to defensive side of the ball. It doesn't have to be a 4-star, 5-star player, but just impact players starring in their role. I think that'll be pivotal for them next year.
Right. And so you watch that game. They did a good job stopping Walton on first down when they tried to run the ball, but they didn't have any of those negative plays. The big sack, they did force some fumbles in the game, but yeah, the negative plays to push them back and really put them in a tough spot. I think they were really only able to get Walton into a couple of third and longs in the game, and then the 1 4th down play. But overall, you're right. I mean, that's a young team. Kamari's going to be back.
Yep.
Coach is going to be back.
Yep.
Juju's going to be back. So they for sure, you see them winning the region, getting home field again, being a top seed.
100%. Well, let's go to the next result. I got to go Creekside, 35-14 victory against Warner Robins. They exacted revenge from last year. It was a close game, went to overtime, came up a little bit short. But the thing about this game, they did run the ball well with McCreary, but Vincent Berry, I think, had one of his best games in a Creekside Seminole uniform, right? He was 14 or 24, 4 touchdowns. He was making the throws. One of the players going to be on my standout performance for this week, but I thought the way he was seeing the field was great. And I think that is going to be crucial, right, in this game. Obviously, it's going to be the battle of the offensive defensive lines against Jefferson. But if they got Barry who can, if they get stifled a little bit with the run, they have Barry, he's making those big-time throws. I think that's going to help Creekside a lot.
Absolutely. And what I like about Creekside in that game, it's like, let's say they look at that Warner Robins defense, like, you know what, we're going to have – they're challenging us to pass the ball. That's how we're going to have to do it. Vincent stepped up and did it. I think the same thing's going to happen against Jefferson. It's going to be tough trying to run there with Sammy Brown, the best linebacker in the country back there. So you're going to need to pass the ball if that's what they're going to give you. I think Creekside has the offense to do it. And, yeah, they showed that great balance, and it really was a dominant victory over Warner Robins. They obviously came out motivated, and that was a huge win. I mean, that one left a really bad taste in their mouth last year, really bad. And so I think it's a sigh of relief. They got the revenge. Now it's just 2 games left.
That's it.
Man.
So can't believe it, but we are here now, so that's going to be a real good game. We're going to preview that
at Arrowhead Stadium.
Right. That's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll preview that game in a little bit, guys. My next big result has to be Woodward Academy's victory. I know Gavin Hall got hurt, Baxter Wright got hurt, but that was huge for them, right? They've gotten in these games and having able to kind of get over the hump. It's going to be tougher this week. They got to play Douglas County, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But, I mean, for them to be able to win that game, close win against a really good Gainesville team, I think it's good for the momentum going forward.
Yeah, they had a good comeback in that game. The defense has been rock solid. And, yeah, obviously they were helped out by those injuries. But it's a huge result. I thought with Gainesville making it to the finals last year, I thought they had an even better team this year. They were, I mean, it's a really tough place to play. Coach Nibwick gets them fired up. They're stronger than they were last year. They got a great coaching staff, so there's a big victory for sure. And, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But a note about 5A, that's going to be the finals right before 7A at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on Wednesday. So, man, if Creekside's there, it's going to be
We'll have to check really that out.
Yeah, 5A and 7A back-to-back.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
That's going to be very, very exciting. My next one, I got to go no shade to you, Craig. I know you took North Oconee, but I just think the offense is at a different level for Benedictine. And then the crazy part is the 5-star quarterback, Luke Cromahawk, he had a good game, but it wasn't even him. It was the running back, was running the ball. But just I was surprised in being able to score so many points against a really good North Oconee team. 48, I mean, that's not easy to do. But, I mean, I think you see in kind of the maturation of this Benedictine team, right? Being able to beat you not just offensively, but being able to beat you in other ways, create some turnovers, right? Being able to kind of lean on the rushing attack a little bit and, you know, not put so much pressure on Luke Cromahawk. I think it's just one of the more complete teams. I think that may be their toughest game out there in 4A. Obviously, other people has, you know, chances and stuff, but I think North Oconee was the biggest threat.
Yeah, I mean, that's a team that doesn't make mistakes or balance. I talked about Max Wilson, a guy that could play quarterback, but he's elite, so they can really be versatile, draw up plays, try to put that pressure on them. They can do so many different things. They got a big secondary, but Benedictine just as a team, Cromahawk, he didn't have the biggest numbers, but they all played outstanding, and they just kept getting better throughout the game, ran away with it. I was super impressed. They play Stockbridge next. See if Stockbridge can elevate up to their level, because it's going to take everyone.
Yes, no, for sure. And then my last big one, I'm gonna throw it to you, Craig, after this one. I gotta share the screen on this, guys. I actually did DM them on Twitter. This is actually Milton. I want you guys to see this. I don't do this often, but I had a lot of conviction. Craig knows how I get when I have conviction. But I sent this before the game on Tuesday last week. I said, probably one of the only ones in the state, but have y'all beating Colquitt County Friday night, I believe in Milton. This is what I DM'd the Milton Eagles football team on Tuesday. I just had the conviction. I know Colquitt County had a good team. I know Nico Fan was going into that game kind of limping a little bit. He did still play, still had 4 touchdowns. But I just love the resolve of the Milton team, right? That was not an easy win, right? They went down double digits early, but I thought their defense with the turnovers. And I'm going to tell you what, man, their linebacker core, which is on my standout performers, they got some guys, man, in Benton, Ja'Cory Stewart, and Hayden Tumania. Like, they can get after you. And I think the turning point was them being able to get some turnovers, getting stops, getting the ball back to Luke, who got it going. You know what I'm saying? Like, struggled a little bit to start, but Luke got it going. And I was just really impressed. That was not an easy win. I know a lot of people had Colquitt County winning it all, but for them to win that game, obviously, like you said, it helped having the home field advantage. Last year they didn't, but I think that's a big-time win, 39-37, one of the more exciting games last Friday.
Yeah, and I know you retweeted that one turnover from the linebacker. Was that an interception or a fumble recovery?
Interception by Benton.
It was, yeah. That was a tough play to make right in the middle of the field. Plays like that. I mean, Milton has such a standard of excellence. They call it the Empire.
They knew
they weren't going to shy down from Colquitt County. They were lucky to be at home, not having to travel. Made the most of it. Tell a big-time victory, and I think they have a chance against Grayson. It will be another tough one, but it's an interesting matchup. I just think offensively, when they're balanced late in the season, they're a complete football team for sure.
They are. And I was impressed, and I think defensively, I mean, obviously the points probably be like, oh, they scored a lot of points, but I thought they made the stops when they needed it most. And I think that's what matters now.
Yeah, and you talked all the time about the versatility of that linebacking core. They can go up to the line of scrimmage, pass rush, get
Cover.
skinny, as you say,
Yep.
go in coverage. They understand it. Those guys are beasts, and then they're outstanding up front. So it'd be an interesting challenge for Grayson. But I think my big result is Camden County, their win over Mill Creek.
Yeah,
another one, no one really saw it coming the way they beat them. They jumped out to a huge early lead, and then something Mill Creek hasn't done in any season I can remember, turned the ball over. So I think it was uncharacteristic, but there's something about this Camden County team. They keep forcing in this playoff run. They keep forcing the other team to get off their game, produce turnovers. They did it against McEachern in their big shutout. And then offensively, they only attempted 2 passes. So they're an unorthodox team in the modern day. They get you off your rhythm and a ton of turnovers. That's something interesting when they're going to play Walton this week. They're going to be watching film, trying to draw up something, but they gave Mill Creek a ton of challenges, and I think that was the most points Mill Creek has scored since their season against Collins Hill like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
And they beat them pretty badly. Coach Lovelady afterward just tipped his hats.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm not going to lie. Like, Camden County's had a special run just on the road, winning a lot of these big games, beating Mill Creek, who has looked really good all season, not really seen much flaws with them, right? Being able, the ability to be able to pass the ball with Throgmorton, have the weapons on the outside with Patterson and Trajan Greco, being able to run it with Ken Robinson. And I'm not going to lie, Craig, let me be honest. I was kind of salivating at a rematch between Walton and Mill Creek. We know what that game was last year, 44-41. Yeah, I was kind of salivating that, but shout out to Camden County going on the road, getting the win in a hostile environment, getting the early lead, like you said, and jumping out to a fast start.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing with a ton of confidence and focus. They went on the road round 1, beat Newton, went back to Atlanta, beat McEachern, went back to Atlanta, beat Mill Creek, back to Atlanta to play Walton. So we'll see. It should be interesting, but certainly credit for them. That was outstanding. And then I'm going to go to 6A.
Yep.
I thought the Marist win over Roswell was really something.
You called it.
Yeah, I called it, but I didn't think it was going to be that dominant. And now it's going to be interesting because they're playing a team that's more similar to their play style with Thomas County Central. Great defense, run oriented. They matched up well with Roswell, just being able to get out to the pitch. But it's going to be an interesting chess match for sure with Thomas County Central. I checked the forecast. It looks like it's almost guaranteed to rain. That's going to make it even more interesting because, I mean, that definitely factors in.
No, 100%. Yeah. It makes a difference in games. I mean, raining, it's ball slippery, more turnovers, it's tougher to pass in that kind of situation, more drops you'll see. So that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, we saw it. I mean, the only rain game was that Harrison North Paulding one. And
you're right. Yeah, that was a pretty sloppy game.
Factored into it. Those, every time they snapped on special teams, the ball's getting loose.
Yeah.
And then the end when they tried to fake the fumble.
You're right. They were hitting the ball down low. No, 100%. No, you're right. But that's all we got, guys, as far as the biggest out. We're going to go into y'all favorite segment, standout performers from the quarterfinals. I'm going to start and then throw it to Craig. Got to be Creekside. We mentioned him at the start, but Creekside wide receiver Shane Kelly, 6 catches, 130 yards, and 3 touchdowns in this game. Again, a special shout out to Shane Kelly and also Vincent Berry, both stepping up big. I thought one of his better games, predominantly a run football team with Travis Terrell and Roger McCray. I didn't see Terrell in the stat sheet a lot, so I'm not sure if he was dealing with any injuries, but they still were, and I think they're going to need that good balance if they're going to beat a really good Jefferson team. So shout out Shane Kelly, 6 catches, 130, and 3 touchdowns. Excuse me.
Yeah, that game is going to be so good. I cannot wait for it. All right, so mine, I'm going to go defensive side of the ball. Justin Kruger of Walton getting 3 sacks in the Carrollton game.
Wow.
Huge plays, and it's a big time performance. They have 4 as a team, but he's a guy that doesn't get as much recognition with Ashton Woods, Gokwe, Wendell Gregory, but Justin Kruger had a tremendous game, got the hat trick.
That is magnificent. That definitely made a difference. Next for me, got to be Benedictine running back Bryce Baker, 14 carries, 156 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So very, very impressive performance from him. As we mentioned about Benedictine, right, got the star quarterback in Luke Cromenhawk, but you go in a game like that against North Oconee, not having to ask Luke to do too much. Not that he can, but being able to have that balance to be able to run the ball, it takes the pressure off. So I got Bryce Barker for the 156 yards and 4 touchdowns. Incredible performance.
Yep. And then my next one's obvious. Jeremy Hecklinski, 22 of 24, 354 yards and 3 touchdowns through the air. Played incredible, hit every throw, didn't miss, and was very exciting. It was a privilege to watch.
Yes, 100%. Watching him on TV, I mean, you've seen everything. Him make every throw. Magnificent performance on the road. A little bit get back game for them, and they keep rolling on. Next for me, I'm gonna give a whole shout out to the Swainsboro running back room, primarily DeMello Jones. Right, their running back room as a total ran for 375 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. DeMello Jones had 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jordan Williams, he had 105 yards. Jabios Smith had 79 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then Quindarius Brown had 116 yards and 1 touchdown. That's getting it done. That's leaning on your whole running back room. Also, shout out to the offensive line. All those running backs getting in there, staying fresh, and being able to run wild in that game. So, shout out to St. Swainsboro running backs.
Yep, I'm gonna go the kicking game. Thomas County Central. Drew Renault had one of the clutchest games in the postseason so far. In the Rome, he had 4 field goals in the game-winning 31-yarder on the final play. It was Thomas County Central's only lead of the game, so he already hit 3 in it. It was a defensive battle, and he came through, gave him the big win. So outstanding by Drew Renault.
Wow, great game by him. Yeah, that's definitely big time. Next for me, got to be Milton linebackers. I mentioned earlier, Hayden Tumania and Ja'Cory Stewart. Big time games for them. Tumania had 13 tackles, a sack in this game, 4 hurries. Ja'Cory Stewart, 12 tackles, a sack, and an interception. And I bring them up because I was really standing out to me as the linebacking core with those three, right? And Ja'Cory Stewart had the big interception, right? Being able to get the momentum back in the game. So, him being able to have hurries, him being all over the football. Tumania, same thing, all over the field, making big plays. And then Bitten, as I mentioned and tweeted out that night, just having that big interception, playing coverage well, knowing where the quarterback was going to go with the football, and making the read and making the big play. So, shout out to their linebackers. Again, Tumania, 13 tackles, a sack, 4 hurries. Ja'Cory Stewart with the big interception, a sack, and 12 tackles. That's being all over the field.
And then I was almost certain that Jeremy Hecklinski was going to get Player of the Week in the newsletter. And then I saw it was James Johnson from Douglas County. And have you seen the numbers?
I have not. Got to inform me.
So I was like, wait, Hecklinski didn't win. And then I saw his numbers from the Lee County game. My goodness. All right, let's see. He had 5 carries for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. He had 55 yards receiving and a touchdown on 3 catches. He returned a fumble 35 yards for a touchdown and led the team in 13 total tackles. He had 2 tackles for loss and a 40-yard kickoff return. It's one of the best stat lines I've seen.
Yeah, that's a complete
Sammy Brown. That's next level.
Yeah, he definitely had to win on that. I mean, that's doing it on both sides of the ball, being a complete player. I mean, we seen him earlier this year in Great Atlanta Bash. I mean, some of them, they was getting on the goal line in the red zone, and they were running direct snaps to him. So he's just a athlete you just got to get the ball to and let him do his thing. And I mean, I think he's showing, and that's what makes Douglas County so special this year, right? They don't have just, right, obviously Sire, I love him playing on the bigger stage, him being able to show his QB prowess and stuff like that. But they got so many different athletes they could throw at you. Him, Aaron Gregory, I think Boyd's still nursing that injury, but they got so many players that could just play.
Yeah, and so Coach White said he's smart, elusive, strong for his size, has great speed. The total package is a four-sport athlete: football, basketball, baseball, track. It says he rarely attended any recruiting events in the offseason and only has 1 rating, 3 stars on On3, but now Florida State, Georgia, and Ole Miss are all pursuing. And he had the big game against Lee County. I didn't see the stat line until yesterday. I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy to think he's only that, though. Only a 3. I mean, I thought was rated way past that, but seeing him multiple times, Craig, we've both been impressed by his play and just what he can do on the football field.
Yeah, against a great Lee County team, 59-45. Douglas County is definitely the team in 6A.
Yup, and then my final stand, Manchester, 2 shout-outs actually. Zacharias Alford, I believe he's a linebacker, 11 tackles in that game, big-time performance in that one. And then also Justice Terry, he's a heavily recruited, heavily rated player, 10 tackles, a sack, and 3 hurries in that game. So stepping up big for Manchester. They get the really back-and-forth win against their opponent, and they're moving on to play in the semifinals. So big-time performances from those 2.
Yep, I'm going to have one more. Let's go to, it was Lincoln Delaire from Stars Mill. It was just very exciting against a good Central Carroll team, but he hauled in the game-winning Hail Mary. Great catch, jumped up over the shoulder, and now they're going to play Perry and host their first ever semifinal game. So it was a absolute thriller between Stars Mill and Central Carroll, and the catch was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. I mean, 41-yard pass also by Logan Nagua, and then him coming down with it. I mean, that's not easy to do, 29-29 in a thrilling match against Central Carrollton. I mean, that it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, I love – there were a couple angles of the video, but I just love seeing all the Stars fans. I mean, this is a team that missed the playoffs. They're playing incredible right now, having a fun season. They won the region, and that was definitely hype.
Yes, 100%. Well, guys, we don't usually do this often, but we're going to move to a new segment we implemented in since it is semifinals. We're doing game picks this week, top 5 games this week with prediction. We may even add a couple extra ones in there, but I'm going to see what games Craig is actually really interested in. So you guys stay tuned for this. I'm going to start Creekside Jefferson. This is a tough one to pick. I'm not going to lie. I believe Creekside is home, but I like Sammy, man. He's tough. He's tough to tackle. They got a really good team. Keelan Butler is on the other side defensively for them as well. They can throw it. I mean, they can just do a lot of stuff well. I mean, it's a tough matchup. I think a really special one between both of these teams.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the X factor. It's just the the strength of Sammy Brown and just how hard he works, how many times he's going to touch the ball. It's so hard to pick against them. But I mean, I have to go with Creekside. I got them higher in my rankings, so I'm going with the Seminoles at home.
I think we're in agreement. I think that environment. I've heard a lot of stuff about that environment at Creekside. I love Sammy Brown and what Coach Nolan's doing with and all the weapons they got. But I think I'm gonna roll with Creekside too. This is a hostile environment. They will be at home. I just like the ability, and I think if Barry can kind of build on that performance he had last week, they will be a tough out. So I'm rolling with Creekside as well. All right, Craig, I'm gonna throw to you one other matchup you're eyeing.
Man, but think about it though. If it's pouring down rain, I mean that's going to change everything. But
no, for sure.
Let's go Thomas County Central Marist. I think
cool.
There's a lot of hype about that one. We'll be at it. It's at Marist. Thomas County Central has the best defensive front. You're going to be going up against probably the best rushing attack with, I mean, in the second round, they had 10 different guys contributing to a 370-yard game. So it's a great matchup, and I don't think either of those teams makes mistakes.
No.
So it could be a very fast game, fastest one all year. But who do you have in that one?
It's tough, kind of an old traditional type of football kind of a game. Like you said, it's going to be raining, so I think it's going to be interesting. Thomas County's got to limit their mistakes. They're a good team. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I have picked against Marist. I like their coach. I like their team. We've seen them earlier this year against Blessed Trinity. They can run the ball with Jackson Hughes. They got a threat on the outside with Luke Harper, who plays both sides of the ball. I don't know. I think that Thomas County Central has a front in order to kind of make it tough for Marist. Marist don't have to jump out to another early lead. But if I had to say, put my money on it, I'm going to roll with Thomas County Central. I think it's going to be a competitive game between these two, but I think Thomas County Central comes out on top.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the home team on this one, which I'm sure Thomas County Central probably will be favorited. I mean, they've had an unbelievable season, and you're right, they match up very well.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be a low-scoring close game, and I mean, Marist has some weapons. They have some mismatches, and they do it year after year. So we'll see.
Okay, Craig has Marist. All right, Craig, we're going to go to the big one, Woodward Academy in Douglas County. Who are you liking in this matchup between these two teams? Woodward Academy's, making a nice run this year. They're doing it with Landon Walker. They're running the ball with Lucas Ferritin. On the outside, got Josiah Abdullah. Doing a little bit of everything, man. Ben Grice as well. Defense playing well with Andrew Hurd. London Merritt. They just got a lot of weapons, man. What do you think about this game?
I think it'll be a good game, but I got Douglas County. I think they've got more firepower offensively. Woodward has some weapons. They got a great defense, but yeah, the athletes on Douglas County, it's next level.
Yeah, I think it goes back to your point with it going to be rain. I think the only thing that can defeat Douglas County in this game is them turn over the football. Cannot turn over the football in this game, or County will make you pay. But I like this to run. I think they got a very talented team. They're going to return a lot of their players off next year. A lot of the team is young, getting this experience, but I'm going to roll with Douglas County as well. I think they get a big victory. I think it's going to be a great game between these two, but I got to roll with Douglas County with a big win. So we're in agreement there. All right, Craig, I throw it to you. What's the next one you got?
And the thing about Douglas County, they literally have gotten better every single week this season.
Yes.
All right, this is a really tough one in 5A. Coffee at Cartersville.
We actually got a comment too. Someone said Cartersville has Eric Allen, so appreciate the comment as well.
And you saw Coffee shutout Cass. That's a team that we saw play Cartersville. Cass almost beat them. So
yeah, and Cass was rolling. I mean, they
Yeah.
beat Mays. I mean, they were rolling in a good way. You've talked to Coffee's coach. You've been high on them all year. It is in Cartersville. They have been playing well with Nate Russell, and I like a Darian Wilson. I like
Fred Brown.
Fred-
For Coffee, Fred Brown.
head coach Fred Brown. But yeah, I like Jamari Bryce as well. But I don't know, man. I think this Coffee team is on another level. No disrespect to Cartersville. I think they have a phenomenal team and a good coach. But I'm rolling with Coffee, man.
Yeah, I think Coffee, that shutout against Cass, I know you don't want to look at common opponents, but we saw Cass match up with Cartersville. It was not a shutout.
No.
And so, yeah, I see a result like that. Shows me Coffee's the real deal. So I'm going with them.
All right, next big one we also had someone said Daniel James has said, let's go Stockbridge. So we're going to talk about that game. Stockbridge, Benedictine. Good thing for Stockbridge. They are going to be home. A lot of people like to sleep on them. They got a really good team. And peep this stat, Craig. They got a guy, Cam Reese. He's second in the state in sacks, 17 this season. They're definitely going to need that against this Benedictine team that can run it and throw with Luke Cromenhog. But who do you got in this one?
I'm going with Stockbridge.
I kind of want to go upset too. I mean, I like the Benedictine team. They've been there. I got to go upset too. We believe in you, Stockbridge. We are rolling with you. Probably one of the select few that are. We like upsets here on the podcast. We are rolling with you as well. Cam Reese, we're going to need you to have a big game, man. Get after the rusher. Get some TFLs on that running game as well. Try to slow down Bryce Barker. But, yeah, rolling with Stockbridge.
You're going to have to play that perfect game. But I just think, Stockbridge, they haven't lost within 4A this year. Obviously, Benedictine hasn't either, but they've won 11 straight since the close Douglas County game, close Colquitt game. And that's a solid team. I think the fact that they had to battle in that Westminster game, a different style offense that they didn't do. They had to find answers. Big players stepped up. That woke them up. They looked outstanding. They've had huge wins this season, 49-0 over Lovett. So when they play their best and that defense is rolling and they play complimentary, they have a chance to beat Benedictine.
Yes, and Jimmy actually has Jefferson and Maris coming out on top. So we're going to see on that one. But actually, speaking of Jimmy, Savannah Christian and Carver Columbus, big time win. Carver Columbus is having a magnificent season. They're gonna have their offensive line is gonna have to be ready in this one. They got two studs, Elijah Griffin, 16.5 sacks. He's tied third in the state. They also got a nice young freshman as well that can get after you, and that's blowing up in recruiting as well. Big time game. Carver Columbus will be at home, I believe. I'm rolling with Carver Columbus.
I got Carver too. I think Savannah Christian has, as you mentioned, great athletes, but in Carver, they've had some solid wins this season. I like Carver at home.
Yeah, me too. All right, Craig, I'm going to throw it to you. What other game you're eyeing?
All right, the Battle of the Panthers in 4A, Perry at Stars Mill.
You just talked to his coach. Actually, guys, go back and go watch that. It's up on our YouTube page right now, the Perry interview. What stood out to me, I actually went back and watched it, Craig, was when he talked about the difference between 2022 and 2023, saying last year they kind of skated through the competition, didn't really have to battle those tough games. He said this year the difference is they have had to have 3 tough playoff games, and that's made his team better. So I think that's crucial. I think you're going to get another one of those kind of games where it's kind of tough, nip and tuck at the end. I like what Stars Mill is doing, though. What the progression Logan is offensively. Last year was a sophomore. This year he's a junior. He's been taking some big steps forward.
It is such a tough pick because
it is.
Stars Mill, I think they also have the best kicker in the state.
I'm going to roll with Stars Mill. Yeah, I like Perry, but I'm going to roll with Stars Mill. It's a good game.
Yeah, they'll be at home. I'm going to go with Perry. I think Coach Smith, the reason they're winning these close games, it's like it is so important for them to preach like this positivity. And they battled the injuries this season when their quarterback went out. They only lost 1 game over that span. You look early in the season, they had a huge win over Jones County when they were healthy. I mean, they beat the brakes off them. I think Perry has a chance to win this one, and it's going to come down to just the coaching, the scouting, and the preparation. But Ahmad Gordon's been phenomenal, picking Perry to make the first ever state finals.
That would be big for them. Next one, I got to go with this one. Grayson Milton in 7A, one of the better games you'll probably see. I'm stuck. I love both of these
I know.
programs. I love Coach Reeves, what Coach Santavius Bryan is doing. As a first year head coach, got them in the Final Four. Coach Ben Reeves did this last year as well. I, I just think it's an intriguing matchup, right? And I think we can really break it down. You go look at the linebacking core. I've been really impressed with as a total for Milton. They also got Jack Lawson, who does not talked about a lot. They got guys that can get after you, right? And then on the offensive side of the ball for Milton, they can throw it, right? They got the weapons, I think, to make a difference, right? They got Ryan G, who's over the middle. If they play a lot of zone coverage, right, you can hit him in the seams and some digs and some outside routes, right? They got the deep ball with DeBron Gatlin, right? Also in CJ Wiley. They got to kind of do it everything receiver and Tristan Payne and Mark Esley, who can create big plays in the return game. But then you go to Grayson. Grayson, same thing, right? We know how good the Milton secondary is. Two guys are going to Tennessee, Dylan Lewis and Tyler Redmond, right? But they got weapons in Grayson, right? They got John Senius. They got, Colin Fox, excuse me, who can beat you over the middle as well. They can run it with Dylan Elder and Amari Austin. It's just like, it's such an intriguing matchup. It's like, I don't know who to choose.
Tyler Atkinson.
I forgot about him. Like, he can go down,
He'd be the best player on the field. It's like, yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one.
I don't know. I'm like stuck. I mean, Grayson's at home. It's going to be tough for Milton on the road. I like Luke Nickel. I love the team. It's tough. It's tough for me.
I'm gonna pick Grayson. I think we're gonna see a Walton Grayson rematch.
My mind is telling me Grayson, but my intuition is telling me like Milton can come in here and pull off an upset. I'm gonna go Milton, man. I'm gonna go Milton. I like Grayson in the team. I think Coach Bryan and Coach Tukowski and their offensive coordinator, they're at a different level right now. They really are. Milton's gonna have to come in this game ready. Like, you're not gonna be able to play around with them. And all I will advise, do not throw it sideline to sideline. Please don't. Go down the field. They have too much speed. Too much speed. But I'm gonna roll with Milton. I think they can get enough stops, be able to turn over the football, be able to pull up an upset on the road. But let's see. I will say this. I am kind of salivating over a rematch between Walton and Grayson in the state championship where it matters most. That would be epic, but let's see.
Yeah, it's a big time game, a lot on the line.
Yes.
Grayson has had very intriguing season. I mean, they've had games where they haven't looked hot. They've won some close games. That's going to be, a phenomenal matchup.
Yes.
All right, let's move on. Who you got in the Walton, Camden County?
I'm going to roll with Walton. I'm very confident in their team. I just think they got to come in here and they can't have the turnovers, right? Very fortunate. Dropped, they lost 4. Only 1 was lost, right? So I think that's the only thing that really stops them offensively. As Coach Bruner even said in his post-game interview, right? Only person that can stop ourselves or our offense is ourselves. So I think down to, I'm not sleeping on Camden County. I mean, they got a good team, but Walton at home and Raider Valley, for a berth in the state championship game, Coach Bruner, the offense has been next level this year. I like Walton.
Yep, I'm going with Walton. I think they're going to match up with Grayson again, and that's just going to be insane.
Yeah. All right. What else? That's all I got as far as the picks. What else you see, Craig, that stands out?
You missed some, I think, oh, yeah, we got to pick this one. Cedar Grove Cavalry Day.
Oof,
yeah.
Well, this year is different because Cedar Grove is at home this year. So Cavalry Day is a travel instead of them traveling to Cavalry Day. But, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, their offense last game, did you see what they were doing and how special they were offensively? And what Jake Merlinger's doing? Yeah, I mean, they were throwing the ball. He put up, 49 points, I believe?
Yeah, dominated the second half.
I don't know. Like, I love Cedar Grove. I love Coach Adams and what they can do. They can run the ball with Bo Walker, right? They got an outside threat in Devin Carter. They played a very challenging schedule. I don't know, man. Maybe this might be Cavalry Day's year.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Cavalry Day.
Me too.
They just been building up for this season, for sure. Got a 4-year starter, better on defense.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cavalry Day, too. Not to sleep on Cedar Grove, but I think this is a year they try to exact their revenge. It's hard to beat a team. Then next year, I'm rolling with Cavalry Day.
That's right. Let's do one more pick here.
All right.
All right, let's go to 2A. Fitzgerald at Pierce County.
I'm rolling with Pierce County.
I got Pierce also.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Pierce. I think them being at home in that environment, I think it's gonna be kind of tough for Fitzgerald. I gotta roll with Pierce County.
Yep.
I think they get a dub.
All right, that's it for me.
That
big ones.
That is it. Those are the big games. You guys go comment below who you taking in these games. That's our picks. You can bookmark them down. We'll revisit who came out top here, and we'll probably do state championship predictions as well when those come to be. So comment that below. All right. So final segment to conclude. Underrated player tell of the tape. We're gonna look at Carson Bruce of North Cobb Christian. Had a really impressive tape, so we're gonna break down that right now. I'm going to share the screen with you guys via Huddle. So video is courtesy of Huddle. So let's break it down real quick before we go to the college segment. Here it is. Like how they use him there, use him at the tight end spot. Get a kind of a free release. Same thing right here. Nice reverse. Yeah, like getting some blocking right there. Woo! See that, Chris?
The pancake.
That looked like a pancake right there. A big pancake from Bruce. Okay, I just want you guys to be able to see this. So he scores on this one. So he's right here, guys. Look at him take that on. That's a defensive end. That's very impressive. Here he is on special teams. He is the middle guy, guys, as you can see right here. Woo! Good job getting physical right there. That's very impressive. Okay. The same thing right here. Look at that free release. Going up the seam. Defender falls down. Easy money right there. Nice big game right there. I like how they use him. Same thing right here. Free release on a little kind of a wheel route. A little underthrown, but again, good play. I believe he's might be a senior. Gotta look up that right here. I love this. He's one-on-one. Does a good job getting inside. You guys will see that right here. Okay, right here. So one-on-one. Like I got it spread out. Two receivers right here. Nice release inside. Quick rub route. And goes up and goes gets it. There he's in the backfield. Another good design play. Going airborne. Nice touchdown right there. Same thing. Nice reverse play. Woo. It takes a lot to bring him down. That's very impressive too. Same thing. A little out route right there. Nice stand up. You gotta look that again. Look what he does to this defender, y'all. Their spin move, get off me.
You never see someone touch someone on the spin move.
That is crazy. Same thing right here. Good block on the edge. Look at him kind of release off it. Throw his hands. Hop up the football. Really impressive right there. Was QB. Woo. Making tackles.
That's what the tight end's supposed to do right there.
Loved it. Then kind of play on the opposite side. Good block right there, turning into a big game. 25, 30 plus yarder. Yeah. I mean, that's
real deal.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I mean, he's dynamic in the open field. Let's look and see what he is real quick. What year is he? Oh, he's young. He's 27. He's a freshman.
There you have it, folks.
Wow. So I'll go first, and I'll throw it to you. I think my biggest standout is his ability to not only, because a lot of tight ends you'll see they're receiving, they're catching. That's all he does. You're seeing him pancake defensive ends. You're seeing him be able to block and give his quarterback a little bit of protection, and then be an outlet for him to be able to get the ball to. So I think that part's really impressive about his game. And he's not going down on the first contact, right? He's being able to kind of bounce off the tackle and get a big gain. That's going to be big, especially for Teddy going forward. He already has somebody he's comfortable with, been in the offense with him, and he's going to be able to continue to build that rapport going forward. North Carolina Christian had one of the better seasons, winning their first ever region championship. Really impressive tape.
Yep, he's finishing every play, and I really liked his engagement on his blocks. Once he engages, he knows how to turn the defender to open up the lanes, finish the play, pancake him, and yeah, great moves in the open field, fighting for extra yards. Super impressed.
Yes, so keep doing your thing. I think offensively they evolve you in a really good way. Good play designs as well. So Bruce, keep doing your thing. Young guy, 2027, so you got a lot of room to grow, and I think the tape is really impressive, man. So keep doing your thing. All right, so we're gonna move to segment 2. I'm gonna start with you, Craig. We gotta start about the Georgia Tech Georgia game. What stood out to you in that game? Kind of a game I thought real quick that Georgia took control of in the third quarter. But what stood out to you about Georgia beating Georgia Tech?
I think the rivalry's back. It was a fun game. Georgia Tech did exactly what they needed to do. Keep it competitive. Haynes King's going to be back next year. He got him off to the fast start. I think it was important for them to go in there and make it a fun game. And I mean, is that Bobby Dodd?
Yeah.
I just think it was great to see that game really mean something again. It's going to heat up.
I agree with you.
Georgia's better up front. They got some probably more experience. They got better depth. Georgia Tech's a young team, kind of just coming together. But I thought you just got to commend the way Tech played and came out and gave them a good game.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. We talked about the hot start, right? Forcing the serve against DeJon Edwards, converting it into a touchdown with Haynes King rushing touchdown. So I thought he did good to start. The key to me, Craig, was the defense stiffening, right? After the first touchdown, they allowed nothing but field goals after that into that final kind of touchdown later in the game. So shout out to Georgia's defense kind of stiffening when it mattered most. A couple missed opportunities for Georgia Tech at the end of the half. The missed field goal, missing Eric Singleton on the play. I thought that was kind of huge for them. But I think the thing was the big red zone stop also early for UGA. And then, like I said, forcing the 3 field goals. They take control of the game in the third quarter. And they just didn't have any answers for Milton. Milton had 156 yards and 2 touchdowns in that game. And I think for Georgia, like that's kind of a welcoming thing, right? Some games is DeJon Edwards, some games is Kendall Milton. And then you can lean on them if it's not going offensively. Not the best game from Carson Beck, but you were able to lean on the rushing attack, and you got enough weapons in the passing game to be able to lean on as well. So I thought overall, Georgia Tech did a good job battling throughout and staying in the game. I think, like you said, they're young, right? Yeah. They're a young team. It's going to take a little bit of time. Get some more. I think defensively, they just got to work on their tackling next year. They can get better with the tackling. I think they'll be fine. But like you said, rivalry's back. They were competitive, and that was an electric atmosphere.
Oh, the atmosphere was sick.
Yeah.
Tons of recruits are paying attention to Tech now, and I think, Georgia's able to run the ball well. It's literally that offensive line. They have been just the glue of the team this year, and that's where that confidence comes from, is their ability up front to win that battle week in and week out.
Yeah, I thought Rusty brought up a good point too. I watched the show the other day, Dogs HQ on YouTube. And he also shot out the offensive line a key that he thinks is going to be an SEC championship game. And I think they've been playing some really good football, and that's the difference, right? We talked about it a couple shows ago. Them being able to get to the second level of the defense and being able to create, big holes for Edwards and Milton and the running backs.
Yeah, and not have the penalties.
No.
Go out on the screens, and they've been getting after it. If they come out and have that will each week, it's going to be tough to match up for sure.
Yeah, but exciting game. Georgia Tech has a lot to take from it. Good thing is they're bowl eligible, so good building block. Tough season last year. Come in, become bowl eligible, and guess what? They were projected to go 12 in the ACC, finished top 4.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so good finish.
Mission accomplished.
Yep.
And they have a lot of exciting recruits coming in.
Yeah, they do. All right, Craig. So, I mean, obviously you've probably seen it. It's went a little bit viral, but kind of just the reaction after winning a big game. Obviously Jalen Milroe said, give me the Heisman. So what do you think about his performance? Him having that big touchdown pass to Isaiah Bond at the end of the game. That's a play you have. If you don't, you lose. College football pass, you don't even have a chance no more if you lose that game. But what do you think about just his play, him stepping up big in a key moment? And do you think he deserves to be a Heisman?
I think this year is the most wide open Heisman race I think I've ever seen. Especially because, you look like last year and then what happened with USC. I just think it's wide open right now, so I don't have any problem with him saying that, playing with confidence, and he's put himself in that conversation. So you got Bo Nix in that conversation, a couple guys, but he's got a chance to go to New York. So I think that's exciting, but it's all going to depend on how he plays against Georgia.
100% agree. I think it's contingent upon how he plays against Georgia. I think he will be a finalist. Yeah. I think he will win it. I don't think so. I think it's going to be between Bo Nix and Jalen Daniels. Now, Daniels had a great season, right? 3,812 yards passing, 34 yards on the ground, 50 total touchdowns. So he's had a great season. Is his team playing meaningful football? No. but he's had he's done everything he could do to try to kind of uplift them and get them where they're supposed to be. I will say though, I think it is almost a guarantee. I know you said it's open. I think it's almost a guaranteed lock for Bo Nix, right? 3,906 yards, 37 touchdowns. Unless he goes out there and he just has a terrible game against Washington and has like 3 to 4 picks, I think if he goes in and he's competitive and they go back and forth for Washington and he has a chance to, if they win that game, I think he's a lock for Heisman. I do. Because I think the season they've had, how they battled back, and this is going to be contingent upon them making the college football playoff. So if they go in there, Pac-12 championship, he has a big game, I think he's locked. Now, if he struggles, you may see that come in, and then Jalen Monroe goes and balls out against Georgia and may muddy the conversation a little bit. But I agree with you. I think Milroe's in the conversation. Big game this weekend, but I do think that
Bo Nix is the favorite. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's probably the odds favorite right now. Yes. And the thing about those guys, they're the MVPs of their team. It's like as good or as rock solid as a guy like Carson Beck's been, he's not the MVP.
No.
And so I think that's the difference.
No, 100%. And we got some exciting games this weekend. So I think we tied, Greg. We mentioned it earlier in the show, 11-4 both. I was actually surprised. I thought it did way worse than that. But I missed Georgia Tech, Louisville, Ohio State, and North Carolina. Those games I missed.
I missed Nebraska. I missed Florida. I picked them for some reason. It's Louisville. And what was the other one I said? Was it wasn't Syracuse?
I think that's the one you said.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Yep. So I missed those four.
Those 4.
So we traded with the Florida. You picked Florida State.
Yep.
You picked Georgia Tech. I picked Georgia.
Yep.
And then UNC keeps screwing you over. I don't know what the deal is with them.
I don't know either, but I'm at a point I'm going to stop picking them because they have been screwing me over.
They've been horrible in the second half, and NC State dominated them.
They did. Made it look pretty easy. But we're going to go ahead and look ahead to championship weekend before we make our picks. Just break down a couple big matchups. Let's start with Oregon and Washington. We mentioned it a little bit. Washington has been playing some games close, but this is the game for them, right? Obviously, the rankings are going to come out tonight. We'll see how it's going to look if it's shaked up a little bit. But what do you think about this matchup? What does Oregon need to do to kind of come in here and get a win? And same thing for Washington.
Man, that is going to be a great matchup.
Yeah. Friday night.
I think with Washington, they've just played such a clean season. Oregon's got to be aggressive. They got to take chances, go for it on fourth down.
They did that last time.
Yeah. And they just got to draw up unique plays, trick plays. I mean, that you really have to throw them off and open up that playbook.
I think for me, Oregon needs to get some pressure. I think they need to make it tough for Michael Penix, not allow him to have a clean pocket, right? Make him kind of force him into some throws, create turnovers. I think that's the key for Oregon. They will come out here with a win and get more possessions, right? Limit Washington's possessions and get more possessions for your offense. And I think they have a good chance to win this game for Washington. Just keep doing what you're doing, hitting the downfield throws with Michael Penix, being able to protect with them, establish a little bit of a ground. I think in this one, but I think it's gonna be an electric QB matchup between these two teams, and a lot on the line. I think whoever wins, they're gonna solidify their ticket potentially in the college football playoff. So a lot on the line.
Yeah. So you think like if Washington wins, they'll be out of the playoff?
If Washington wins, I think they'll be in. If they lose, they're out.
Yeah, they're out.
Yeah, they're out. I think if Oregon goes and wins, I think so, because if you go look at the Pac-12, the Pac-12 has had one of its best seasons in a long time, right? So I think you cannot allow a Pac-12 team not to be in my opinion, because it's been so competitive between those two all season, and the competition's been a lot better.
Winners in, losers out.
That's what I think.
So who you got in that game?
I'm going with Oregon.
I'm going Oregon too.
Yeah, I'm going with Oregon. Yeah, I think Oregon will win that one, and they'll advance to the college football playoff, in my opinion. All right, let's go to the big one. SEC championship, Alabama, Georgia. What are you looking forward to in this matchup? I think for me is the offensive line play against the defensive line against Alabama. And I think what's interesting is I've heard this week that Alabama's actually been practicing with no helmets on against their defensive line. The offensive line has. So I think they're taking this matchup very serious. Obviously, we know it's going to happen with Nick Saban. Do that early in practice. I mean, you could tell like they want it. They've been having some great play. I mean, it's going to be such a good game between those two, right? They can run the ball. Milroe's been stepping up big. That early bench, and I think really helped him, and the team is galvanized behind him. So I think it's going to be an interesting game between these two.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Brock, Ladd, Carson. I think the offense is going to do its thing, and then defensively, Georgia's going to get after it, produce turnover, bring the hard hats. I think Georgia's going to put them in their place.
And Mims had a big game too against Tech, the defensive end. So I think it's going to be competitive. I think Alabama's going to be able to, make this game more interesting than people think. I think it's going to be back and forth, but I do lean on Georgia. I think to win this game. I think that they've played some good football all year. They played some of the tougher teams. Right. I think Georgia will come out on top.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I think Georgia comes out on top. All right. The next big one, we got to talk about Oklahoma State.
I think they win Texas. By 20.
20?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Georgia by 20?
Yep.
I think that's a little steep. I think it's going to be either.
I'll take that bet right now.
I don't know about 20, Craig. I think that's a little high. I got a one-score game. I got either Georgia kicks the game winner or they win by 7. But that's a bold pick. All right. Craig by 20. Najeh is taking that bet right now. He's a big Bama fan, so we're going to find out Saturday. That'll be a lot of fun. But Oklahoma State, Texas, who you got?
Texas, they're playing very well.
Yeah, I think so too. Interesting enough, their quarterback transferring out, Malik Murphy, their backup. Interesting situation, I think, especially with Clint Edwards probably coming back for Texas. But I agree with you. I think they're playing some of their best football. I think they come out big, and I think Texas get the dub as well.
Yeah, they'll be heavy favorites.
All right, I'm going to throw you, Craig. What other matchups are you eyeing?
All right, let's go to Louisville and Florida State.
This is tough because, Louisville's been playing some good football. They're coming off that L against Kentucky, so they'll get dropped. I know Florida State struggled a little bit against Florida, but I think they'll be able to come on top. I know this is a big game, but I think Florida State, regardless of them not having a quarterback, and I think if they win this game, they should have a bid to potentially get in. They've had an undefeated season. I know it's tough them not having a quarterback, but I'm going Florida State.
Yep, same. That is one of the closer games. All right, let's go to – let's see. We both probably agree on this one, but Michigan, Iowa.
I've been picking against Michigan all year,
yes,
and I've been wrong. I don't know. I might just have to face the fact that they have one of the best teams in the country. I think that is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Something tells me to pick Iowa, but I've been wrong. I'm going to go Iowa.
Okay.
Still go Iowa, yeah.
All right, let's see. Let's go to App State and Troy.
So we have not talked about Troy a lot on the show. App State has been playing some really good football lately, been very competitive, but I don't know if you remember, but Troy's running back, who set the all-time record for their team, Kamani Vidal, playing for Marietta, they've been having a good year, man. I got to see them earlier this year when they played against Georgia State. I think they have a really good, complete team, and I'm going to go with Troy.
Oh, man. I'll go with App State.
All right, Craig has App State. All right, and Troy. I think we only disagree on 2 right now.
All right, let's pick one more.
All right. Not as many games because it is championship weekend, so.
Let's go the MAC championship. Miami of Ohio against Toledo. Nice rivalry game right there.
That is, I think I'm going to go with Miami of Ohio. Like the season they've been having, I think they come in with a big win against Toledo. Miami of Ohio.
Oh, man. I'm going with Toledo.
All right. So that is 3 we differ on. Championship Saturday will be a lot of fun, so make sure you watch some on Saturday. All right. Last segment for college football before we go to NFL. Top 6 teams in college football. Craig, I'm going to start with you. How are you ranking this list before it comes out tonight?
Let's see. I have it written down. That's the wrong week. Here we go. I got Georgia, Michigan, Washington, FSU, Texas, Oregon. No Bama this week.
Interesting. Alabama. That Auburn game must not sit well with you.
No.
Okay. I think Auburn just played everybody tough. They played Georgia tough. They played Bama tough. That Auburn team, they're going to fight. I'm going to go Georgia 1. Do I have them losing? They have looked good. 2 Michigan. I'll go 3 Florida State. I'll go 4 Washington. 5 Bama. 6 Oregon. Texas, I got to see you do it. Every time I'm about to believe in Texas, they fail me. So I'll go with that as my top 6. Bama wins. Bama's in. Georgia wins, they're in. I think Georgia, even if they lose, I still think they're potentially in. But I think you could potentially see 2 SEC teams. If Bama loses, I think they're out. I think that's pretty obvious. But if they win, I think you see 2 2 SEC teams in with the Michigan and I think Florida State.
Yep. I mean, that's why I dropped them out because obviously it's going to depend on the Georgia game, but you got to put the undefeated teams up there first.
Yeah, you got to. You got to.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll be a fun weekend.
I don't know. Something about it. Georgia has not played its best football. I think they're just going to get up for the game. And, I mean, the atmosphere is going to be insane.
Of course, Mercedes-Benz, SEC Championship, we don't get much better than that. But we will see. We will see. All right, last segment to conclude the show. Third segment. Who has been the most impressive team so far this season, in your opinion, Craig, in the NFL?
I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think Eagles?
Like Jalen Hurts, I think last year they should have won, and I don't know, they're solid. They're the most physical, I think, and I know you question some of their secondary, but I don't know. I just think they're the team.
I'm gonna go.
They're the team that scares me the most.
Really, I'm gonna go Baltimore. Although they're all struggled against the Chargers, everything they could, the defense did to keep them in the game. I when I look at this team and I study them, it's hard for me to find any weaknesses in their team. Right? No, I did not pick Bama, Jimmy. I picked Georgia. No, we both picked Georgia, so bookmark that. Yeah, so for me, I'm gonna roll with Baltimore again. I just think no true weakness. I think they have the best defense, I think, in the league. Number 1 in most categories, right? Roquan Smith. I think they got a player on every single level, right? Kyle Van Noy, Jadeveon Clowney, who's starting to heat up. Linebacker role, Roquan Smith. Safety role, Kyle Hamilton's coming to his own, possibly having an all-pro type of season. And then you trickle that with the weapons they got offensively, right? Not having to overly lean on Odell Beckham, having Zay Flowers, who had a big game, having, obviously their tight ends out, Mark Andrews, but having Isaiah Likely who can step up, having Lamar Jackson. I think they're going to be a tough out. I mean, I know we got Jacksonville in there. I know you got Miami in there, and obviously Kansas City. We'll never sleep on them. But I think they have been the most impressive team with what they've done, how they've improved, and how well they've been playing.
It's a good point, and they do have the highest point differential, and they played a very tough schedule.
Yeah,
so,
it hasn't been a cakewalk.
Yeah,
and then they're in that division with 3 playoff teams right now.
That's right. So I think that's a good case for sure.
Yes. Well, who has been? I'm going to start this segment. The biggest surprise in the NFL. I'm going to go on the AFC side. I got to go Houston or Denver. Right. No one expected Houston to be here. Right. Nobody expected Houston to be competing. Right. They didn't miss the field goal with Amendola late. That does suck, right, against Jacksonville. But that's a game Jacksonville needed. You did not want to get swept by Houston, right? That wouldn't have been good for your potential to win the division. But I think how C.J. Stroud has played for the most part. I think how their defense has been stepping up in big ways. I think offensively they look good. Them picking up Tank Dell. This was not a team you expected to be in the hunt, contending for a playoff spot this late in the season. So Coach D'Amico Ryans is doing a good job. Offensively, they look really good. C.J. Stroud has been stepping up. He looks like, I think, the rookie of the year offensively. Can't give me many more rookies that look better than him. So I think Houston, I think also Denver, right? They start off the season rough, but this offense is coming into its own. They're beating good teams, right? They beat the Raiders. They beat Minnesota, who struggled last night, unfortunately. But that win against Cleveland was really impressive, right? They beat Pittsburgh the week before. Coming into that game, they held them to only 12 points. I mean, I'm very impressed with Denver right now.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, Denver. Yeah. 5 straight wins. Early in the season, you saw that game against the Dolphins. Everyone's clowning them. Worst franchise in the league. Now look at them. They've turned it around. They're winning good games. They beat the Chiefs, obviously. I just think they they look solid. And I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Well, who? Houston or Denver?
Denver.
Really?
Yes.
You think they sneak in?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so bold take right there from Craig. I had to bookmark that. He has Denver getting in. That is. But do you guys play them again this year?
I believe so. Let's look at that.
I know you guys played them. I don't think you guys played them in KC yet, right?
No. Yeah, we did. They lost that one 19-8. Then they beat them 2 weeks later.
Interesting.
So they got the Texans coming up.
That's going to be a big game. Yeah.
Chargers, Lions, Pats, Chargers, Raiders. I think they could get in.
We're going to find out. That's going to be exciting. And I'm going to address this comment for Frontrunner for MVP. No disrespect, Jimmy. We always appreciate your love and always checking us out and the support. Was not impressed with the Falcons win. Sorry. I hate to say this. I'm not trying to be that guy, but y'all are a first-round exit. Hate to say it. Y'all are not, even if you get the 4 seed, y'all not beating the Cowboys. Y'all are not beating the number 6 seed either. I don't think you guys have a chance at the 3 seed. You got 4, and it'll probably end up being the Cowboys. They're going to come in there and win. No disrespect. You guys got the talent. I think you know what the biggest problem with the Falcons is. I'm not going to say it, but I think you know. All the talent you guys have, I don't see it. The defense has been great too. Don't get me wrong. I love your defense. I love Jesse Bates. You guys have been great defensively. I think it's a really good, complete team. You know what I don't believe in, Jimmy. I hate to say it, but if you guys win, but it will be a first-round exit.
Yeah, I mean they beat the Saints. They were coming off a bye. They needed the win.
Yes.
They played decent at home. I mean they play close games every week, but it's going to be tough to make a run.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. No offense. I think you guys got the defense. It'll make the Cowboys. But yeah, I think when it matters most, you know that position that matters the most, the QB. And I'm gonna leave that there. But let's go to front runner for MVP. I'll start and throw it to you, Craig. I got to go number 1 for me, especially after this game against the Bills. Got to go Jalen Hurts. 2 for me is Lamar Jackson, and 3 is Tyreek Hill with 4 Josh Allen. They struggled in that game against Buffalo, but I think what Hurts has been able to do the last couple of games, right? Playing a tough team and you guys being able to come on the road and come back from behind. You guys were up 17-7, had the game in control, being able to come back and make the big throws and get them back in the game. Same thing against Buffalo. And I think the thing, like you said about Philly, they've been impressive. The most impressive thing is they have not played a complete game yet. I mean, wire to wire, just a dominant game. Now, that could play in their favor, and it could not as well. It can because they played in a tough game in the tough games. Same thing goes in the playoffs, kind of double-edged sword. In the playoffs, you want to be playing your best football, right? But they got the experience of climb. But same thing in the playoffs, you don't want to be behind too much because it could make it tough to come back. But they got that experience. So I think that's how I would rank them. Jalen Hurts, 2 Lamar Jackson, 3 Tyreek Hill, and then 4 Josh Allen.
I agree. Jalen. I go Jalen, Lamar, Tyreek.
Yeah.
It's my 1, 2, 3.
We're in agreement there. I think they've been playing some good football. I think they've been the most valuable to their team. And I think with Philly, no lead is safe. Jalen Hurts is showing that, and he's gotten better as the game has waned on. And in the fourth quarter, that's what you need. And I think if you got him at quarterback, you feel pretty good.
Yep. I think Lamar could jump them, though.
Yes. If he continues on, 100%. All right. So final segment, I believe. Yep. Best games of the weekend. I'm going to start with you, Craig. What one are you eyeing?
Texans against the huge game, wild card, and I guess
that's this weekend.
I think so, December 3rd. Let me check. Yep, Denver.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even have that one. Yeah, that's huge. Craig is right. I mislooked at that one. Yeah, that big playoff implications for both teams, right? 5 straight wins. Yep. And then if you're Houston, big tiebreaker, right? If you guys are tied, you got a tiebreaker, the one up on them, basically 2 games. It's big. Yeah. Who you rolling with?
Oh man. I just said Denver's going to make the playoffs, so I got to go with Denver.
Yeah.
6 straight.
For sure. I'm going to go with Houston. I believe in CJ Stroud. I think he's having a rookie of the year type of season. I think they figure it out. I think they pull off the big win. My next one, I got to go Lions Saints. I know a lot of people are like, why do you pick that one? Lions struggled against the Packers on Thanksgiving. They kind of they need this win to stay afloat, right? And I think for the Saints is like, okay, hey, you're a game behind now against the Falcons. You really need a big win. So I think it's gonna be interesting to see, can they kind of come in here and get a win for the Saints and kind of stay pace with the Falcons potentially in a wide open NFC South division race. And I think for the Lions, you got to get back on track, right? The last couple of weeks, you have not played well. You have not played well against Chicago. You pulled out a win, then play good against the Packers. So they got to start playing some of their better football. So I think big game for both.
Yep, I think Thursday would be a good one. Seattle at Dallas.
Who you like?
Oh, Cowboys for sure.
Seattle needs a win too. Seattle needs a win too. That was an ugly one against the 49ers, but I think they can come in there and make some noise. I got them beating the Cowboys.
Okay. Both are coming off Thursday games last week,
Yes.
so that will kick things off again. I just think Dallas they're looking exciting.
They are. I think the next big one, Craig, got to be 49ers Eagles.
Yep.
Game of the week, America's game of the week on Fox. Big time playoff implications, right? You got to think about it. Philly is 10-1, right? They're playing the toughest part of their schedule. They already got 2 wins, 2 big AFC wins against 2, usual powers. Not so much for the Bills this year, but think about this, Craig. Philly goes in there and wins. They have a 3-game lead on 49ers and the tiebreaker, right? Your 49ers, you want to kind of bring Philly down some, right? You want to be 1 game within also having the tiebreaker. So this is kind of a game you got to win. I think 49ers are at home, correct?
No, it's at Philly.
At Philly. So
Gosh.
to me, it's a must-win game for the 49ers. I think Philly, you feel good if you get this win because this is the power you see. This is the team you're going to probably see later in the season, and this is for home field advantage. I think it's a big game for both. It's a lot of implications in this one.
I think the 49ers are going to win.
I mean, it's been a lot of chirping as well. They didn't feel good about Brock Purdy getting hurt. They think they beat them in that situation. It's going to be a lot of chirping in this game. And 49ers are a complete team.
Yeah.
They are. They're a complete team. But I'm rolling with Philly. I think Philly is going to start to hit their stride. I think this is the game you start to see everything culminate and come together. I think they get it together offensively. I think they have one of their more complete games in this one. I think it's a back-and-forth game, but Philly comes out on top.
I'm with San Francisco.
All right.
They need this win, and Brock's back playing well. So, last one we got to talk about. What do you think is going to happen, Bengals and Jags?
Ooh. Okay, I got one more after that. I wanted to talk Chiefs-Packers, but Bengals. I'm gonna be real, Craig. I know you probably don't like me talking about my team, but I mean, we're done, man. I hate to say it. We're done. I love Jamar Chase. The throws he was making was great. But the thing is, Craig, we're so young defensively. We're not getting the pass rush we're accustomed to getting. Although Trey Hendrickson is having an all-pro type of year, 10.5 sacks. He's been great. But we got a rookie starting at safety, Craig. We got a rookie starting at defensive back. And they've struggled. Think about this, Craig. I got a great stat for you. So, Pittsburgh had 58 straight games. They didn't have 400 yards of offense. Guess who they just got 400 yards of offense against?
Bengals.
Yes. So they've broken that streak. I think we're not playing our best football defensively. I think Jacksonville comes in hot. And I think we got a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of experience. So I think it's going to be tough. Hopefully we get T. Higgins back. But it's the same old story. I think, as I said, this is the time that I think Zach Taylor gets exposed as a play caller. It's no disrespect. People stat. 4-28-1 without Joe Burrow. I dropped the mic on that.
Yep.
What do you think, though?
Similar. I think it's going to be tough. It's been an ugly last month.
It has. All we got to do is get healthy, draft well, get Joe back, get better protection for him. We'll be fine.
You mentioned Kansas City at Green Bay.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
You got to be concerned just from the Thanksgiving game. Green Bay, their defensive line got after it.
They did.
I mean,
they did.
It wasn't even just the sacks. It was every play. There was pressure.
Yep.
And then Jordan Love played really well. I think it'll be a tough matchup. All going to hinge on protecting Mahomes.
I think I agree with you with that. Jawan Taylor's going to have a big game. I think a positive note we've been talking about a lot with the Chiefs is Rashee Rice.
Yes,
and he had a
balled
big
out.
game against the Raiders. So if he can continue to stack that on, I think that's going to be big going forward for you guys, because then you got another weapon. If Kelsey gets doubled, you can depend on and throw the ball too. So I'm looking for him to have a big game. This is a must-have game for the Packers. Minnesota just lost to the Bears. They're 6-6. Packers are 5-6. What better way to show, hey, we're going to make a late playoff push than to be able to get a big win against the Chiefs? Won't be easy because the Chiefs are playing very, very well. But I think this has got to have a game for the Packers.
Yep, they'll start off that December schedule.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, lots of good games this week.
Yep, that's Sunday night. But that's all we got, guys. We're going to get back to work. Appreciate you guys tuning in. That is the Underrated Overlook podcast. Hope you guys enjoy our Friday football. We'll have more stuff later on this week. But that's all we got. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks, Jimmy Cash, for tuning in. Also, Eric Allen, Daniel James, and also Pibbing from Twitch. So we appreciate everybody tuning in. That's all we got. And enjoy the rest of your week. We're out. Peace.